But Daniel, it is a pleasure to have you, mate. How are you and how is your 2023 so far?
So far, so good. I thought that I had everything I needed, and then I see your name with a light on it, and I think I need my name in a light.
Yeah. Well,
That's
you've
that
won up to
reminds me
me.
of Dirk. That reminds me of Dirk Diggler. I have this name that I see. Is that how Dan Allen happened? I have this name, and I'm embarrassed, but it's Dan Allen. Um,
Uh yeah, well, you've won up to me with
I
your
did. I
background
pulled,
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't. I actually wrote a joke. And it goes like this. Do you know who hates name dropping?
Who?
My friend Tom Hanks. So now that's only funny because I don't generally, I mean, I've met Tom Hanks, but I don't know Tom Hanks. But I have to name drop. So Rob Zombie sends me a picture of one of these. And I'm like, "Ah." And he goes, they only made one and it was on his tour. And they would take pictures with people on the tour. Well, guess what? Guess what, sports fans? Dan Roebuck's son went to school with the guy whose company makes these. So I knew there's only
Wow.
two companies in the world that make them in the States anyway. And I called my buddy and I said, did you make Rob's thing? And he goes, we did. And then I was like, could you make another one?
And he
So
did.
I got the other one.
Wow. And where does
And
that usually live in the house?
um,
Oh, nice.
there's so much to talk about. It's a very good question. Dan, I'm afraid to say it usually lives right over there because I don't know where the hell to put it. I don't know.
Not as soon as you enter the home through the front door.
You kind of see it right away. First, when you enter the home, let's not, Dan, we're not animals. You don't see that first. First, you see a wax Bela Lugosi Dracula. Then you see that.
Ah, okay.
I mean,
I knew you were
I mean, if
humble, but
you,
you know.
is it too much? I'm just asking. Is it is it too much? Yeah, yeah.
Oh man.
Hello, yeah. But we're here to talk about Star Wars. Yeah,
While we're
it's
on
too
that,
much.
what is it like to work with Rob Zombie? Because I know you were a fan of him before you worked with him, right?
Yeah, I love the guy. I really
Yeah.
do. He's like you're in my light, Count. Thank you. Um, look, the guy's everything any of us want to be.
Mm.
He's talented, successful, wealthy. His wife is hot, but she's my friend, so I never think of her that way. Um, and and he's inventive. He's inventive. So
Yeah.
I'm a director too, and right, I do everything he does. He does it a lot more interestingly than I do, and he does it so beautifully. And I just love working with creative forces. He's a creative force. That's why I love working with him. I try to be a creative force, but the truth is, I'm carrying about 120 more pounds around with me than he carries around. So I get tired by the end of the day. By the end of the day, he doesn't get tired.
Oh, I think
Well, maybe he does.
you're selling yourself short there. What is something like him? What has he got different that maybe other directors don't have? Is it just a raw talent that you can't really teach?
Well, do you know what I think it is, honestly, Dan? He's got an ability to, he used to be an art director. And I'm real big because I've learned this in these films I make. I'm all about the depth of the set. And I want to know that the thing on the wall in the back in the corner isn't just a piece of paper. I want to know that if I'm in a police station, I want to know what that piece of paper is because I don't know what the camera's going to see because I'm going to shoot it 30 times. So Rob is the kind of guy I always use this example. He'll be like, hold on. And he'll go over and he'll get some paint from God knows where and he'll tweak a wall. And it'll
Yeah,
just be
attention
like,
to detail. Mm.
yeah. That's something he has. When it came to the Munsters, like you had two of the biggest fans of the Munsters in the world, him and me. Uh and uh and so I knew that because I was there, obviously, I knew his take was unique to him, which is his, people forget that's what directors get to do. Uh, but I also knew that it was completely in line with the show that we were making a pre-story of, completely in line. And I hate to say it, and if you're listening to this and you're one of those people who just goes and every time somebody puts something up, you say the movie was shit or the movie was crap.
Mm.
Movie, you're crap. I mean, you're just a person putting out poop, unnecessary. It's waste. We don't need the commentary on anything in life, by the way, not just the Munsters. We don't need the commentary on anything. In the old days, you just didn't watch it, and that's all you got. But and we were reliant on, people who reviewed movies to tell us what was good or bad, and we didn't always agree with them. But we worked really hard, and I think the movie's so much fun. And I was away from it for a few months. I'll be honest to you, Dan, and your viewership. I got home from 4 months of working on these other projects, and you know what? I thought I missed my friends, so I put on the Munsters, and I watched Jeff and Sherry, and was thinking of Rob.
What was that like watching it?
I love it. I like actors like, I never watch my work. For that, I say, boo. I never watch it. I love that. Yeah. They're so busy. They're so busy. Oh, what was, I gotta bang the supermodel.
You'd be shocked how many people say that I watched their work.
Lie. You're gonna tell me you have time to pick whatever cause is the cause that everybody gets on. You have time to do that, but you're not gonna just see out of curiosity if you landed that scene that you worked really hard on, and did they cut it because you were struggling with the director?
Why do you think they say it then?
Because they're liars.
Well, they are for a living, aren't they?
Exactly. No, isn't that funny? It is. I don't really understand why people act like acting is so hard. Watch any politician. They lie. And I don't care if it's your country or my country. They lie.
Oh, yeah.
And they take from us, and they live a life filled with private planes and luxury hotels, and all they got to do is just give up every time a little of their soul because they lie. Why? What kind of job is that?
I wouldn't be fulfilled. Actors? Yeah.
I wouldn't be fulfilled. Listen, Dan, it's, like we have how you buy the newspaper for a quarter? Well, I don't know. Do they still make newspapers? I give this example. This is the kind of thing that happened to me many times. I'd walk up to that machine in a city where I'm filming or something, and I'd take out my quarter, and the guy in front of me would be like, nah, here, just take one. And he'd give me the newspaper because he already had it open, and you could take 10 if you wanted. And I'd say, oh, thanks. And I'd have to freaking stand there for 10 minutes till the guy got on a bus so that I could put a quarter in the machine and open and close it. I'm not risking eternal damnation for someone else's gracious help in filching the media companies that are only lying to me anyway. Let's talk about something. What do you want? I'm in a mood, obviously. You and I postponed this, and now you're gonna get what you get.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What? Before we get into Star Wars, I want to know.
Say I'm obsessed with it. I'm not obsessed.
Your house is decked with memorabilia. What's the coolest one? Is it that behind you?
Oh, what's that? I'm sorry, I wasn't.
What's the coolest memento you've got? would you say?
Well, I have some people can go online and see. I have a lot of good stuff. I have wax figures. I'm a
Yeah.
collector. I have my original Star Wars cards. Imagine how happy I was when they, I have
Really?
that right there. Hold on. How happy I was when they did this. Come on. How great
Original
is
Star
this?
Wars cards.
Oh yeah, from when I was a kid, like 40
Wow.
years before you were born. 1977 when the movie came out.
I kind of wish I was alive to say, wow, that's cool. Yeah. That's a pinch me moment.
Very rare. There's not a lot of these kids. Not a lot. They have some.
Uh, Talk to me about before we get into Star Wars, where did your love of the business come from? Acting and performing and theater and TV and movies, all that sort of stuff.
Well, it was TV, honest to God. It was simply TV. I love how they make TV the villain of everything. But and now it might be TV's not what it was. I mean, shit.
Mm.
We had in the halcyon days, even before I was born, you had like the Honeymooners. That's a great American sitcom in which Jackie Gleason, Art Carney, Audrey Meadows, and Joyce Randolph played two married couples who lived in poverty. Who the guy was a bus driver, and it was a situational comedy in that everything took place generally in their apartment, and it was funny, and there was no political agendizing. It was just funny. And so I grew up on that. I grew up on old movies. Initially pulled into it through the horror movies. So this is even more ridiculous that I'm Count Dracula in a movie. But the horror movies grabbed me for whatever reason as a child. The makeup, and then
Well, you
mostly
were in
what
Halloween. Sorry to cut you off, but for people that don't know, you're in Halloween.
and everything.
That's crazy to me. That's insane. One of the
Not
biggest.
not the not John Carpenter's Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween.
It doesn't matter either way.
No, dude, I was killed by the same monster I saw in the movie in 1978. I
Damn.
was killed by Michael Myers. And then another time, I was killed by the sphere in Phantasm. Like when you saw that when you were like maybe I was 17 or I was like, what?
All
And then
right.
and then 25 years later, I was like, listen to me. I'm gonna give you the greatest sphere kill ever, Mr. Coscarelli. I was like, then tell me, where would you like the blood? Would you like it on this wall? Or would you like it on this wall? And then I was like,
uh, so how do you master the death scene on camera?
you try to make it the best thing ever. Did a TV show called Criminal Minds. Do they play that there?
Yeah, yeah, they love it.
Criminal Minds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on Criminal Minds, Dan, one time they call me and they go, some this happens a lot, because I'm a notable actor of great depth. Anyway,
I agree. I agree.
they they uh they they call, they go, you're gonna be on Criminal Minds. Now that's a big deal because that's a hard show to get on. It's very hard.
Mm,
And
I've heard that.
the pay's good and the residuals are good and network show and it's in the top 10. So I was like, oh, well, I must be a very good actor that they want me to be on Criminal Minds. And then I
Mm.
went to the read through and I was like, oh, I was a man. I was kidnapping little girls. I was impregnating them the
Oh
minute they were old
shit.
enough to have babies. And then I had other little oh,
Oh
oh,
no. A real
horrible,
bastard.
horrible, horrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, um, I'm on Criminal Minds. What the heck was your question?
My question was,
This is
how do you
bad.
master the death scene?
Okay, thank you. So, so that's who I am. And then we're caught because it's Criminal Minds, and but my negotiation is I'll tell them where the other girls are hidden and they will starve to death because they're chained in a room. But I'll only tell them if they let me say goodbye to the girl they caught me with. So there's this moral dilemma. And so I do this goodbye scene. And then my wife is sitting next to the director, and she said the director's like, good cut. And she comes over, she goes, Dan, oh, really nice work. The way, and I realized I had been so sympathetic in my performance that I forgot that I was a child molester who is going to be shot, 14 seconds later in the story by one of the mothers in the hospital.
So you were too much of a good guy, yeah.
I was, and I said, wait, you don't even have to say it. I said, I know exactly. I go, earn the bullet. And she goes, earn the bullet. So I went back in there and did it again and made it a little like, you're so this, whatever. Anyway, come around the corner. And how'd you master the death scene? So for this was the first time on camera, woman comes up, she shoots me. It's in, one frame of film, or one frame, not a film, but one frame. And I got to fall back and down. And so I watched, like you could see when they bring out Lee Harvey Oswald and the guy shoots him, and you could see his reaction to even being shot. I mean, they've made, ooh, there's this weird face he makes. So I was all about getting that right, looking the other way so that when she shot me, it was the bullet that turned me toward her and then fall down. Well, then I'm down and it's one scene and you're in trouble. We were sitting there and they started building a crane. Do you make movies at all yourself?
I know a lot about it, yeah. I know, right. I speak the lingo, yeah.
All right, so here's the lingo. The longer the crane, the longer the shot, because it has more, the longer it is, the higher it can go. So I'm watching him build this, eating my craft service, drinking my little Starbucks. And I say, is that for me? She goes, yeah, last shot. So now I know once I'm on the ground, I'm going to have to lay there with my eyes open, because that's really how you die, for the entirety of that crane going up. So this was a simple question. I'm almost done with the answer. I laid there, people like jump on my thing, and they're stepping next to my head, trying to bring me back to life. And the woman, when we were doing the looping, she goes, I wish that I had you every week. You saved us so much money. We didn't have to replace any eye blinks on your face. How the hell did you keep your eyes open for 24 seconds? And I was like, I a very good actor. When you say I saved money, how much money did I save? He said, oh God, I blinked. Geez, usually we have 4 or 5, 2,000 a blink, almost $10,000. And I was like,
that's crazy.
Let me give you my address. Like, but give me half that.
Yeah. Where's the residuals? I could
spend it. Give me half that and I could spend it on something important.
All right. I want to know, Daniel, Star Wars, how did it feel firstly to enter the canon of Star Wars, and take me back to the first time you were in the theater watching the movie to eventually being in this franchise, immortalized with this great character, Greez.
I love this. This is Jordan, who Jordan Peterson is? This is like a 17-part question. And Jordan Peterson was like, let me answer the third part of your question first and the 7th part of your question second.
I tend to do that, but I think you'll navigate it all right.
Well, let's go in chronological order, just because I'm 60 and I don't know if I'll be alive at the end of the answer. So let's just do the best we can and hope for the best. If my eyes roll back in my head, count 24 seconds, then we have the shot, and then call 911.
Shoot.
Okay. So 77 Star Wars opens. It's the same time I'm on a we're in Canada the week Star Wars opens. And we're not only in Canada, we're in French Canada, Quebec. So
Been to Quebec.
we're in Frenchy town
Yep.
where people don't speak English. And I don't know why we're there. We're Americans. We speak English. There's 10 million places to go in Canada where they don't make fun of you. But so it comes out that time, and my dad is like, no, we're not going to go see a movie in French, because that's how I would have seen it initially, would have been
Yeah,
the
right.
French dub. So the second we got home, we ran to the theater because we knew that I read a magazine called Famous Monsters of Filmland. I have everything else here. I'm surprised I don't have a Famous Monsters here. I'm embarrassed by that. I usually like to prepare for my interviews. But I read this magazine, and so we knew about Star Wars. We knew Star Wars was coming.
Was there hype around the movie, like in general?
Well, if as I recall, if you were my age, you knew what it was.
Yeah, okay.
It's a good question. Was it an immediate phenomenon? It was. I remember the immediate phenomenon of Jaws as well. Like
Yeah.
back then, there were only a movie would play in 900 or 1200 theaters. That's because there weren't multiplexes in 1977. If you got 1200 theaters, you had 1 out of 3 theaters across the country.
Yeah,
10
right.
years later, it was 3,000 theaters. But
Yeah.
in 1977, there weren't that many theaters. So when you waited in line to see a movie, and I remember waiting in line for Jaws and for Star Wars and for Close Encounters, all of them. I remember standing outside waiting to get in. So we knew it was something, and word had gotten out. I don't know, through the kid, whatever the kid thing was. I would have been 13, almost 14 when it came out. So I mean, it was 14. No, I would have been 14. It was just perfect. Just perfect. A perfect time and a perfect movie. And, you know, there are cliches now when you talk about it. Oh, the first time I saw that plane or the starship go over. We hadn't seen it. It's hard to imagine a time. Have you ever seen Logan's Run?
Logan's Run. Don't think so.
I would say to you, just because you'll be like, what the watch Logan's Run, which was a movie shot concurrent to Star Wars. And
No, I haven't seen it.
look,
Yeah, I'll have to put it in my list. Yeah.
when you look at the special effects on Star Wars and the special effects on Logan's Run, you're gonna go, what? How did they get it 100% wrong? And Star Wars got it 100% right. And I think the thing was Star Wars went backwards. And we should talk about that at some point. Star Wars, like Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Star Wars used old-fashioned storytelling to tell a story in chapters, essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
And movie making had gone away from that. And when you see Logan's Run, there's nothing
Right.
wrong with there's nothing wrong with the movie. The acting's good,
Just the
but
effects or what?
the effects are terrible, and it just doesn't connect with you at all. And it's about
Doesn't hold up.
when you turn 30, they kill you. So people at 29 years old run away because they
Okay.
don't want to be killed. And I mean, it's just you watch that and you watch Star Wars, and Star Wars is engaging on every level. And they were ingenious by, old-fashioned storytelling, good villain, good hero, simple story, lots of different things to look at.
Harrison Ford was big as well, was he, at that time? He was a hot
No,
star.
not at
He
all.
wasn't.
No, no.
Okay.
No, Star Wars put all 3 of them on the map.
Wow.
Carrie Fisher, I'll bet, was the one with the most
cred. Yeah.
experience only, because I think she did a lot of TV because of who her mom was. Harrison had been in, um, he had been in American Graffiti and maybe one or two other bit parts. American Graffiti, he barely has any lines.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
it, but a star, a star of the future.
Mm.
It's like when we did River's Edge, Crispin Glover was a star because Back to the Future had already come out. And so he was a big star. No, that was the other thing. You didn't know who these people were. Uh you did know who, like I don't, it sounds like I'm making fun of Logan's Run. I don't really mean that. I
No,
know
no,
that
no.
everybody
It's
who
fine.
worked on it meant well. Anybody who makes a movie, believe me, they pushed a boulder up a
It's a
mountain. It's very
miracle.
hard to make
Yeah.
a movie.
To
Yeah.
even get it out there.
So
Yeah.
so it's not, I don't want to snot on their movie. I'm just saying comparatively.
Yeah.
George Lucas, and I think it was just the phenomena of the moment and the lightning in a bottle and everything else. But by all accounts, you watch any of that footage, you watch Kevin Burns' documentary, Lucas had no idea what he was doing. He even said, like,
Mm.
he didn't know how to talk to the actors. He didn't know, he didn't, there was a lot that he didn't know. And which is why on the second movie, he got, Irvin Kershner, and on the third movie, Ralph McQuarrie, did I say that right? Like Ralph Marquand. He got other directors. And
Mm.
then he came back to it, those 20 years later, and those are hard to watch because they're stilted. There's a lot of walking and talking, and there's no,
Yeah.
you know,
Do you think they would have
but
been
that's
better if someone else directed those three?
well, yeah, maybe. Although, like,
I
I could
do.
see that he was spoiling to do it. Also, they spent all that time and money developing the technology. See, I know more about this than your common actor because I live and breathe this stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I'm confident he wanted to be the one to use the technology.
Yeah. That's
And
what it felt like, but then it missed the heart of the story and that sort of thing along the way.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's unfortunate. Again, great actors. My God, you have
Mm.
Liam Neeson. I mean,
Yeah.
there's you got there's the how did you take the guy who would eventually be in Taken, who would eventually kill 7 people with the tip of his pinky? How did
I
that
love
guy
Taken.
become a boar in your Star Wars movie? There was one point that they kept cutting back to Liam Neeson, and I remember thinking, I was in the theater, I thought, I think that might be the cardboard standee from Toys R Us. I don't I don't really think that's Liam, because
Oh
they
no.
would cut back. They'd be like, is it the Force?
I know the scene you're talking about actually.
No, it's like, like
Yeah, I remember it.
so so I don't know. I mean, they gave it to J.J. Abrams. I thought he did a good job, and then the other guys with the storytelling. I like J.J. Abrams Star Trek's better, actually.
Yeah. But you're a bit biased, aren't you? Because you were in Lost, which is
Oh, the
crazy.
Lost. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I look, he's a smart guy. I'm just saying, I like, like his Star Trek. That Star Trek to
I
me
agree.
is
Yeah, is
as good as anything could be. The casting, the story, the momentum. Um, did they? I don't know what's your conjecture, Dan. I should interview you. I don't want to
no,
put
I
my foot in
agree.
my mouth.
Well, I wanted to know what you thought of the last three films. So you like J.J. Abrams one. What
Yeah.
about
So I mean,
right?
can we talk? Are we talking honestly?
Yeah, let's just talk honestly. Come on.
Let's just talk honestly. I thought Rogue One was the best movie
Same
of
here. There you
all of
go.
them.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. And
Clearly the
and and
best. Yeah.
I have a theory on that. I've said it before. Do you want to hear it for your listeners?
Yeah, please.
So Star Wars took on this this thing that it was never intended to be. And I call, bullshit. George Lucas went back and he talked about it was about Reagan and it was about this. Reagan wasn't even the president. Like they go back and they put all of this, they
Yeah, I know.
superimpose.
I know.
And what did we see in the last three movies? A superimposition of current modern world standards on a story that we wanted to be a storybook story. Why did the two coolest people in the universe, why did they have to be divorced? Dumb. Why is there divorce? It's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. You're telling me someone in that galaxy was like, no, our culture, we don't divorce. We just stay married forever. And that's what we do. And sometimes you go to bed mad, but you're supposed to take care of your family and be there for them so they don't turn into a dark lord. All right. But then now, see, I am Jordan Peterson you. I'm remembering your question. So now here we are, and one day I go to audition for a video game, and this is exactly how it happened. And I'm saying, for whatever reason, I know the reason. The reason I would say God is good, and God needed to make sure that I did not screw it up. And he needed me to get into Star Wars because that was his plan for me from the time I watched the movie in 1977. He knew a secret that he didn't tell me, that I would have watched those movies and dreamed if only I could be part of this someday. And so, for no particular reason, this character that they put into this video game audition that I had, I read it and I thought, oh, because I watched 2,000 movies, I'm watching movies. I knew archetypically, this character was Ernie Borgnine. He was Ernie
Just
Borgnine
by
from
reading
all the
it.
movies. Just by reading it, I knew that that's who this. What are you saying? Are you kidding me? What? So, for no reason, now, what pisses me off is somewhere Stig said it was John C. Riley and some other bullshit. No, I knew it was Ernie Borgnine. Whoever embedded the story embedded archetypically Ernie Borgnine into the story. That's who the guy was. Irascible, gets a little mad something, but he's got a heart of gold. That's who he
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
So I go in and I audition, and Tom Keegan is the performance director. And
I
I
don't
had
think I've
worked
heard a
with him.
bad word about him.
No, the guy is Dan. He's not a great video game director. He's a great director. He
Yeah.
has his finger on the pulse of where exactly you are in the story, everything. So there's Tom Keegan, and cute little Tom Keegan says, good, Dan, good. Okay, fine, fine. Let's do it again. So that's good when you're an actor, because when they go, fine, fine, it means, we're still thinking about it.
Yeah.
But let's do it again means, there was something they saw. So he goes to me, says to me, he doesn't go to me, he says to me, do it again. But you know how you're saying, I don't know what it is with you Templar Knights. You Templar Knights have this set of rules that I don't understand. He said, instead of the word Templar, say the word Jedi. And I was like, yes,
Whoa.
okay. So I'm not going to say Templar. I'm going to say,
Whoa. Yeah. Then the lights flash. The light bulb goes off. Yeah.
and they're smart. You know what? I'm sure Cameron, when they went after Cameron, he knew what he was auditioning for. And Deborah is such a professional. But someone had the wherewithal to think, how old is
Don't tell this
Roebuck?
guy.
This guy will blow it, because they will know that in 1977, I was 13 years old. I was sitting in that theater waiting for my life to change.
Yeah.
So, so my sides, the pages said Templar Knight. All right.
Wow.
So I'm like, sure. Jedi Knight. Yes, sir. So I did it again, but I was still this guy. And when they said that they gave me the part, I remember, like, the woman who manages my career, I had the most brilliant lady. She and her husband have been part of my life for 38 years. That's a record enough. And she didn't understand. I was like, you're this is because she said, I think they're going to give that thing to you, but they'll let us know. They'll let us know. They'll let us know. And I was like, give me the stick. Look, because I'm normally I don't want I normally I've come to the conclusion that
Yeah.
as much as God loves me, he also loves Tom Wilson. So when he put Tom Wilson in Back to the Future, he didn't put me in Back to the Future. I didn't audition, but if
Yeah.
Tom Wilson came to audition for them, so I'm not mad when other actors get jobs. That doesn't bother me at all because I understand now we're all where we're supposed to be
But did you
in
want
our
this one a
life.
little extra, would you say?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, because I knew. I mean, this one, I just wanted it to be me. So was it a little extra or was it? I just wanted it to be me because I thought I could do a really good job.
And
And
when
I'd
you
worked with Tom before.
when you get that call saying you're in, what's the feeling?
Um, so it's a good question, and overwhelmed with gratitude, certainly. But here's a simple fact, Dan. I had no idea
What
at
you were
that
getting
point
into?
what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
what he looked like. I didn't know the depth of the story. I didn't know he was a guy who flies the spaceship. I didn't know any of that. So when we went for the first read, and I seem to remember they maybe didn't even give us a script until we were in the room.
Yeah.
Um, and I saw the depth of the story and where I fit into it. God, I was blown away.
Because
Blown
in many
away.
respects, you're the heart of both games, Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. You know.
Well, and I think that's kind of where, like, if you think of a movie like the Poseidon Adventure, that's
Oh yeah.
that if you haven't seen it,
Great
that's who Ernie
movie.
Borgnine is. He's
Yeah.
he's he's the guy who's really saying because he's there the genius screenwriter made sure there was a character in there who really said he didn't mask his feelings. Are you crazy? Preacher man, my wife Linda. Like there was
Yeah.
one guy who wasn't like trying to convince everyone they were stronger or healthier. That's what everyone else did. He was the only guy who said the truth. So I get to be that guy in Star Wars now. And we should give no spoilers away, but there's great depth in Survivor. Great opportunity for me to really work and working. I mean, Cameron is amazing. Deborah is amazing. Tina, amazing. Uh, our actor who played Bode in this moment, forgive me.
No sheer.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
this year, amazing. And we spent a lot of time together. Like, think of the absurdity of this, Dan. In my life, I I left this set where I look like this. Yeah, look, I come right out of the thing. I left this set. Yes, I stole my costume. I have the real one. And I left the set. I
Uh,
landed on a Saturday, and on Monday I was on the set of Star Wars. So I was
yeah.
on the
Crazy.
Munsters, and my brother-in-law who shoots movies for he DP'd one of my movies. I was on Munsters, Star Wars, and that son of a gun was shooting third camera on Indiana Jones 5.
Wow.
So we were, and
Yeah.
he's a little younger than me, but we were all
Crazy.
like,
You're all like kids in a candy store.
oh God,
Yeah.
what God, can life be any better than that? Give
So
me a
what
break.
was the motion capture, the performance capture experience like for you? Because you had never done that, right? Or had you dabbled with that
No,
with
yeah, no, I
LA
had done it.
Noir?
I'm in a few games. I'm in LA Noir,
Yeah.
which was unique
Dead
in how we
Rising.
shot. Dead Rising 3,
Was
which is
that
where I met
performance
Tom
capture, those games?
completely. Yeah,
Oh, okay, cool.
yeah,
So you've done it before.
yeah, and the process of doing it is, my God, it's so much easier every time. They didn't even put
Mm.
dots on us this last time.
No,
Like the
they've removed the dots.
technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me if the like think of this: if you could look at your phone and it knows it's you,
Yeah, I know.
then the technology, that same technology, is mapping your face, and the dots that used to, the dots, as I understand it, were connected to
Specific,
features
yeah.
on the avatar, and they were so the dots had to be exactly the same place every day. Uh, so the process of getting the show done is a little easier. But still, I'm a sturdy six
Well,
foot,
I
six foot
know, and you're
one.
playing a short character. How does that work? You're not running around on
Just
your knees all day.
no, no. I mean, what's like
Um,
these computers are so brilliant. So I do have to wear pads under my arms. So my arms, I have to be able to not compress the bottom set of
oh,
arms. And
okay.
sometimes we'll do a pass where I'm working the bottom arms, and then we do another pass and I'm doing the top arms
That's
for a
interesting.
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But uh so I spend a lot of time looking at the ceiling. I look over their head and they're looking at two dots on my belly. They put two eyes on my belly. And then, things like hugging, kissing, or, like obviously you literally have a camera here wherever you go. So you can't really hug. Someone has to go left, you go right. That all has to be animated in the middle. But I spend a lot of time, and then you're working with great actors,
But you're not
and
looking at them in the eye. Doesn't
you're
that,
not
how
looking
is
them in
that?
the eye.
That's tough.
But you've got to sell it like we rehearse it. I think sometimes I would do one where we look each other in the eye, then we
Okay.
know because there's a point where if I'm looking at Cal and Deborah's looking at Cal and he says something and we're gonna like how you look at each other, I'd have to know to look at that line. I'd look above her head and I'd be like, you know, and she'd look at my belly, and so you still try to put it all together. It's a heck of a process, and there's so many. I wish that I could tell you, Aaron, like the guys that were there every day, writing,
Superstars. Yeah.
changing, like and oh, that doesn't work. And Tom, oh my God, like you know, you'd think it's Star Wars, it's sacrosanct. You're not going to change any of it. Well, you do change it, just like you do on any movie, where you you have a different what would you like
Did
you
it?
just have more ground to cover or something than there are lines. And
Oh, okay.
I'm always trying to get my ad libs in. And
I feel like you
it,
did in this game. I feel like
I
there's
did.
definitely some lines that weren't written on the page.
Have you played it all? Have you gone
Yeah, I
through it?
have. Yeah, yeah.
So that in this one, there's the moment again, we don't want to spoil. We're going through a thing and Grease says, ah, and then that
That was
at
brilliant.
least, and then when we're done, I go,
Oh.
at least nobody lost their cool.
Was that ad-libbed?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh,
But
okay.
but
Well, so I kind of want to ask you about a few scenes. So everyone listening and watching, spoilers, if you haven't finished it, I just want to ask about a couple of scenes. So the first scene where we see Greaves in the game was him reuniting with Cal. Do you remember that scene in the
yeah.
cantina? Because
Yeah, that
that
was
was
the
great.
first it was the first one we shot.
Was it?
Uh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And what's great about that scene is there's an unsung hero in that scene, a guy who's should be doing video games constantly, an actor named Chris Diamantopoulos.
The
And people
bartender. Brilliant.
bartender. Yeah. Oh, sir, coming right up. And he sings that song that he made up on the spot. And then I had to learn it because I sing it later in the show. Um, he's 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 an amazing actor. And we knew each other. Like if I say Mork and Mindy, do you know what that is? Robin
No,
Williams,
what
Mork.
is it?
It was a Gary Marshall TV show in the 70s that was very popular for 3, 4 seasons here. Mork and Mindy, and Robin Williams played Mork. And we did a movie about the making of Mork and Mindy, and Chris Diamantopoulos played Robin Williams, and I played Gary Marshall, the guy who put the show on. And this guy's inventiveness is unbelievable. He's just a great guy and a great actor. So I love him to pieces. Anyway, he's the bartender. He's Monk.
Yeah.
Uh, and so that was great to have him there that first day.
And he
And
puts a
then
lot of personality into that because it's a robot as well. But
right, and but
it's
don't and you know he was moving it and singing the song and just very very good. So and that was interesting to make that the first scene because when we did the read through, I was in Budapest. So I had worked all freaking day as grandpa. They took the makeup off. Then I went and did this read through for 4 hours of the game.
yeah, wow.
And so I hadn't seen Cameron in person since the last game. So when we did hey, look at you, that was all real.
Oh, so there was a bit of natural element to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
I do love that guy. You guys, Dan, you know how lucky the world is that he's playing Cal Kestis because he is so smart and he plays the games, right? So he
Yeah, he
knows
knows.
where
Yeah.
we are in the game. He knows where I'd be like, huh? What? What are we
Yeah.
doing? Because
And he
again, I'm
takes it
six.
serious, doesn't he? Everyone tells me he's really protective, I guess. Is that the word or
Yeah, I think
yeah.
so. But
Mm.
think of what he's accomplishing here. He's playing a character that for your generation is going to have equal footing with Skywalker, with Luke. He's going to have equal footing with all these characters that they're coming out with. But I watch some of the other shows. Of course, I like to be in them. I like to be, what is that? Andor is the one that takes place right before Rogue One.
Yeah, you want to be in that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why don't
Ah.
somebody put me in that? Send this on to somebody.
Well, we need
Here, I just
Greez. Would you do Greez in a movie?
no, no, no. That would be no.
Yeah, you
I
couldn't do
never
that.
watch. I never watch my own movies. I was hanging with Tom Hanks, and we were talking about that. Um. So,
Oh man,
uh,
you're gonna break me.
yeah. I want you. They should put a camera on me when they come to me and say we're putting Grease in one of the movies, because
oh
there should
yeah.
be. It should be a three-pronged thing. Somebody with the depends, and maybe my wife has to go tomorrow when you wake up. I know you've never done this, but you should wear depends, and there should be like something for me to fall on, and I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, I have the vapors. Oh, um, I don't
Uh,
want to keep bringing it up, but when Rob Zombie called me and said, "Would you play Grandpa Munster?" I mean, I wept. I almost drove into a tree. I was driving a car. I said,
Jesus.
if you're punking me,
Stop.
you'll hurt my heart at a level that it's hard for me to explain to you.
Uh,
Because
far
no,
out.
why would I lie about that?
Yeah.
Or I
Another
won't
scene
bring up.
I another scene I wanted to ask you about. It was so this is a bigger spoiler, guys. It's when Deborah Wilson's character Cere has yeah, you know what I'm talking about here? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, when she finally kisses Grease, it was a wonderful scene. We really went for it, didn't we? Oh God, the passion that woman has. I loved it. We pulled off our cameras and we just jumped on each other. Ow! You don't even know what I did with hand four. I'm sorry. What was your question?
No. That let's just say that, that scene with her and that other guy.
Yeah.
And then Cal Cal comes to you guys and yeah, it's a very emotional scene. How did you
Yes.
play that one?
Well, that thankfully came toward the end. I mean, they're
Mm,
smart with this stuff, how they divvy it out. Um, and because it was a very important scene in the story, and I think in the Star Wars canon, it's a very
Very.
important
Yeah.
scene in the entirety of the Skywalker saga. So, um, I, I'm and then it has repercussions. We're so talking around it, but unless you're have a third grade
No.
education,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, to think then what will this process of making the game be like from this point on? And I feel in my heart there'll be a third one. I don't
Yeah.
know why
Same
the
here.
Star Wars comes in threes.
Exactly. Yeah.
I feel there will be a third one, and can't wait to see. I hope if there is a third one, that it's back to more of the first one. I hope that now that we've established this family unit, that the family unit now is what we have to do now is all family unit.
Yeah. Do you think he sort of went off a little bit in this one because he had other things to do and the family was sort of not as pivotal as the first game? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he had to grow up.
Yeah.
Um, even, that's kind of a hero's journey, isn't it?
Mm.
Um, so, I think he had to become the guy he is by the end of the game. And do you have kids, Dan?
No, I don't.
All right. So,
Not yet.
they were smart enough to adult him to a
Mm.
point where the end of the story was a viable situation. Because there's many people who are thrown into fatherhood uh, early, and it's
Mm.
not this different with girls because girls do mature more than faster than boys. That's a fact. I know it's not a fact anybody wants to pretend is real, but it's real. So it's a fact. So boys, say a young man of 18 or 19, if the girl's the same age, she's
Yeah, I agree.
leap ahead of his mature and understanding. So again, I know we're talking about spoilers, but if you've played the whole game, how we end our story requires that Cal
100%.
Kestis would be an adult.
You had a few scenes with that little girl. I'm forgetting her
Oh,
name
she's
now.
great.
But yeah,
Uh,
what's it like
Hakata.
working with children on a video game set?
Well,
That
I mean,
different?
it's in yeah. I mean, Kata was actually played by an adult playing a child,
Oh, okay, okay. Right.
uh, a small adult, but a terrific
Right.
actress who embodied it. Just
Yeah.
like they could make me 4 foot tall. But they had an actress who was very shame on me for not having that name on the tip of my tongue. But she was
No, that's all right.
lovely.
Yeah.
She was lovely and she did a lovely job.
Yeah. So quickly, just back to that other scene. Were you emotional on like when you were shooting that?
Very much so. Very
Yeah.
much so. Very much so.
Was there a
Uh
few tears around, or was it?
oh yeah. I,
Yeah.
I I think it was all legit.
Yeah.
And there was that technical thing then where we were moving through time quickly. So to make that effect, we really had to do it. So
Oh,
we were,
really?
yeah, it wasn't animated. It was moving back and forth and around and looking and talking. And um, I
Yeah. I
remember,
love that,
yeah,
by the way. I haven't seen that in a game, really,
yeah,
ever.
no, no. I think that again, I think these guys are leaps and bounds ahead
Mm.
in an approach and in a uh, maturing of the gaming experience. Um, they certainly, based on what I've seen, I don't play the games, I'm afraid, but based on what I've seen, they've certainly made the combat stuff. That's like, am I wrong? Isn't that raised up
Oh, it's yeah.
like
It's incredible.
big,
Yeah.
incredible? You've got more ways to fight and more things to fight with. And I mean, it's ultimately, I've got to remember it's ultimately a video game, but because I don't play video games, for me, it's the movie I made.
Yeah, yeah. It's
You know,
almost like a TV series or a film for you. Yeah. What would you say was the biggest thing you've taken from the experience so far into your personal life? Or
oh, um, I wonder if it works the other way, Dan, more that my personal life has what I took into Greez for my personal life. I'm a happy fella. I'm not really curmudgeony, but I think as I get older, I do want to rectify confusion faster. When
yeah,
you direct movies, people say they bring you and you're like, whoa, 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 why is that green? You said you wanted it green. I never talked about that. I said I wanted it green. Like that's how fast crap happens. And then you have someone repainting the green thing. But now I'm not a big fan of that kind of stuff. But um, yeah, I don't know that I'm a happy person, and Tom Keegan knows me, right? He had worked with me before. So he knows who I really am. And I think it's interesting. I think he cast all of us very specifically that we're very much like our characters. I really do. I'm always joking. Cal's always serious. Deborah's always thinking in ethereal, uh, cosmic
it's so true. It's so true.
terms. Have you
Yeah,
interviewed Deborah?
yeah. She's amazing.
Yeah,
She's a
she's
great
amazing
lady.
and she's
Yeah,
glorious and filled with love and joy.
yeah,
She's Cere,
yeah, yeah. You're
so
right.
I think it was good that I knew it was supposed to be Ernie Borgnine. And by the way, I only refer to that because ultimately in that Art of Star Wars book, someone in there said, "Oh yeah, we always knew Greez was Ernie Borgnine." So
Ah, cool.
that's that's that little slice of magical, they call it a God wink or proof of God. I call it where two completely different sets of brains, melded onto the same idea, and
But
then it became the thing.
would you say it's more Daniel now?
No, I think I'm still, did I say I wasn't going to talk about this again? I mean, this is still Al Lewis in me. You know what I mean? The guy who
Okay.
played the part initially.
Yeah.
And Grease will still always be with love and affection to a great actor like Ernie Borgnine, who I got to work with in my life and know.
Oh, you
Um,
did? In
yeah,
what movie?
it's a movie called Nightclub. I don't know if it ever came
Ah,
out.
okay.
Maybe his last movie.
Hmm.
God, the guy was great. Oh my God, joyful,
I
joyful.
is it true? I read somewhere that you one of your big role models growing up was Andy Griffith. Is that right?
Oh yes, yes,
Yeah. I can see
yeah.
why. I can see why.
Well, then
Yeah.
you spend 3 years. I look back, dude. You know, I'm not rich, and people say things to me that are funny. I got on a plane just yesterday, 2 days ago, and the guy was so nice, but he said, "Oh, I know who you are. You used to star in movies," and I was like, "I started a movie 2 minutes ago. Like just
Yeah.
starting in a movie last week." Um,
Yeah.
so I hear a lot of that kind of stuff. It just makes me laugh. But what I have been given in my life, I don't, if I were Tom Hanks, would I be as happy if I was never Grandpa Munster or never in Star Wars? Probably not. And I'm pretty happy.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll give you a couple more. What would you say you loved about what do you love about Grease? What's the thing that keeps you coming back and love to play him?
Well, I love to play him because he's you know he, his curmudgeonly self is a character that is like, come on, let's go, we're gonna do it. And that's I think that's me to some extent. Many people, not me, I'm not special, but I do often, like, I'm the guy saying, let's go, let's do it. Here we go. You know, you direct a
Yeah.
movie, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, and the cameraman's got to go in the water. You go in the water first, and you pretend that it's not terrible. You're like, come on in. There's a famous story, by the way, of Victor, one of the guys who, there's like three guys who directed King Vidor. There's three guys, Victor Fleming, three guys directed on Gone with the Wind, and two of them also directed on Wizard of Oz, because they were making the movie simultaneously, and
Oh, okay.
they kept, this guy's directing this sequence and this guy's directing. And there's a famous story. Is it Victor Fleming? Maybe maybe with Douglas Fairbanks. And he's like, all right, Doug, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna do it with the sword, and then you're gonna jump that 12 foot down there, land on your feet. They're gonna come around. And Douglas Fairbanks was like, darling, are you out of your mind? I'm not jumping, I'm gonna break my leg. And Victor Fleming, if he was a guy, was like, break your leg, you pussy, sissy, whatever they called each other that we're not allowed to say. He goes, get out of the way. He walked up there and he said, you go like this and you jump. And there, see, it's not that hard. Come on, let's. And Fairbanks sees that he did it, and he goes, all right, darling, I'll do it. So he gets up, ching, 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 jump. Oh my God, I broke my leg. They bring in the ambulance. They put him on. God damn you broke my leg. They take him off the set, and the director goes, just tell those people to send another ambulance. I broke my leg too.
That's fantastic.
That's true. It's
That's
brilliant.
fantastic. Oh man.
Anyway, so I love going
God.
back and being the guy who doesn't want to have fun, but he knows he's gonna have fun. And now he's got, now he's in a kind of a grandfatherly role.
Yeah.
I'm bringing it up again.
Now
now he's in that role, right?
Yeah. This is the thing. There's a lot to explore I'm guessing it's going to be a trilogy. You would think, as you said, all these Star Wars properties tend to be 3 films.
Well, I would hope you and your fans are willing to fund it. I
think this game has sold very well. I don't think we need to worry about that. I've heard millions and millions have played it already.
They don't even tell, by the way, they don't tell the actors. And actors are like, oh, we don't get a piece of the game. I'm like, I'm in Star Wars. Do you think I give a shit? I don't care. Go, strike. You're mad about money. I don't worry about money. I'm in Star Wars. Worrying about money is for Earthlings. I live in a galaxy far away.
Hey, is there anything you wanted to say to the fans of your work or of Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order? Is there anything you wanted to pass on to them?
To the fans of my work, I'd like to say, Mom, thank you so much for being the only one. You're always there for me.
What about the other millions?
Other millions? Oh,
yeah.
That would be nice. Look, actors, despite what they think, are no smarter than any of us. In fact, many of us, and this is a fact, only have a high school education. So, friends, don't listen to actors when they tell you how to vote and how to think. They don't know anything. You went to college. These are idiots. Except maybe Jodie Foster. I think she went to Harvard. The rest of us, not so bright. So, can I ask people? I know you're
funny. Yeah, what are you gonna say? Yeah.
Do your people watch you all over? Yeah, they look. Please look at what I'm doing. I'm making. I'm making faith-based family entertainment. They could go to achannelofpeace.org. Maybe you could type that in the little however you do it. achannelofpeace.org. We have a movie out now called Lucky Louie that I wrote and directed with my daughter. And I've got another movie called The Hail Mary coming out. And then God is Good. I'm a director for hire too. And we just did a great movie, oh my God, called Tuesday's Flu with Ross Marquand from The Walking Dead, uh, and Jackie Earl Haley and John Grice, Uncle Rico. He's on
When
White
you say
Lotus.
faith-based movie, for people that don't know, what does it entail? Is it a
Well,
story?
it's not there's a lot of movies where they're like Jesus, 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 Jesus. My movies are Hollywood entertainment in which the characters have a relationship with a higher power.
Yeah.
Not even,
Oh, it's not
if I
even
find
a specific thing. Yeah.
no, it's in, the one we, Lucky Louie, the guy's a Protestant. In the Hail Mary, it takes place in an all boys Catholic school. They're Catholic. If I find a Jewish story, it'll be Jewish, Muslim, Muslim. I don't care. I also don't believe that only a Muslim could tell a Muslim story and only a Jewish person could tell a Jewish person's story. Because I've told so many stories as an actor in my life, and I performed in all of them. And at no point did anybody think, I don't believe that this guy, felt like I played a gay guy. Nobody thought I wasn't gay. Who cared? Nobody cared. They knew I was an actor. So
Mm.
I'll make any story I want to make because I make it through a not for profit. But Tuesday's Flu is a mob movie, and there's a lot of F words. I feel bad.
So are these available on your website? Is that right?
Well, they'll be available further. No, you can just learn about what we do, and maybe you're someone who likes the idea of what I do, and we always take donations. And it really is a not for profit. I want to tell you, Dan, I've written, directed, and starred in and produced three movies so far that I did not take a dime. My family doesn't take a dime. We put the money into the community, into the post production, into the actors. And I love it that way. The problem with all the woke culture is it subverts a higher power and puts self as the center of the story. And we're not here to be the center of the story. We're here to be supporting characters in each other's stories. None of us gets to be the star. So when one of us says, I demand this because you're going to hurt my feelings, I to that I just say, why don't you worry about, because I'm a supporting character. I have feelings too. And we're all working to try to make the world better. But when one of us wants to be the movie star, the whole thing stops, and then people clash and fight, and it's unnecessary because God is good. He loves us all, and we love him and each other. And that's how it should be. And no one has to tell me how to love or who to love. I got it. I figured it out. I'm in. I'm on board.
I love it. I love it. Is there any advice you would give anyone in the creative field? I'll leave you with this question. Is there any advice that you would pass on? And not just acting, just anyone in general, creative or anything of that nature.
Yeah, Dan, Stephen, Stephen Pressfield? Hopefully I'm saying that right. There's a very smart person, smarter than me, wrote a book called, probably went to college, wrote a book called The War on Art. And what he essentially talks about is that for every creative output or attempt to be creative, there is a force for whatever reason that kind of works diametrically and opposes that creative force. And I don't know if it's is it if you're doing the thing, you got to be like fully committed. So I would just say there's always a force working against us, whether you're an artist or the guy who cleans the floor at the high school. It's hard sometimes to think, do people really appreciate what I'm doing? And then ultimately I finally figured out in my heart that if I appreciate what I'm doing, that's good enough. And others may follow suit. So I'm done pleasing people, and I'm here to serve people, and I like to be of service.
When did you, sorry, I'm going to have to follow up. When did you get to that point in your life? How long ago did you say,
Well,
did you turn that corner, would you say?
I'll tell you, I had a really interesting upbringing, great parents, great parents. Uh, but I give a lot of credence to these sisters of St. Joseph, these nuns who were kind of my guides through first through eighth grade. Not so much in high school because we weren't so reliant on the women in our lives, to help us. And man, these nuns really, really got me from the first grade on. So there was something about the power that they had to see kind of the artist I could be. Like I had nuns who I would do play. I did so much theater, and I'd say, sister, geez, I gotta learn these lines. I gotta be off book tonight. And they'd say, Mr. Roebuck, go to the infirmary, go down to see Sister Loretta, and essentially getting me out of class so that I could go learn my lines. Because they looked at me, all of them, and they knew that what I had nothing to do with making sure numbers added up. Um, so I think I've always been faithful, but I'll tell you, the truth is, in my own life, I had a near death experience 10 years ago that almost took me away. And then
Wow.
my marriage to my children's mother ended around the same time. And, it made me realize that whatever I do have left, because it was right at my 50th birthday, that whatever I do have left, has to be good and honest and true and helpful.
Mm.
Um, I do fall sometimes. For instance, my former wife, who's still a friend because we parent two beautiful kids. She, I bumped into her one day where my daughter works, and I know that she's dating uh, a pilot, and I know that she's very impressed by this. So I say, "Hey, I hear you got a new boyfriend," and she's like, "Yes." And I said, "What does he do?" And she goes, "He's a pilot." And I said, "Oh yeah, what does he fly?" "He flies airplanes." And I said, "Oh, that's interesting because I fly a spaceship in Star Wars."
Ah!
So I,
Ah!
I take my shot still when I can because the new wife gets to be married to the guy in Star Wars. The old wife gets to be divorced from the guy in Star Wars.
Oh, mate, it's been a pleasure to chat with you today. Thank you for giving up over an hour of your time. We really appreciate it.
Well, God bless you and all your followers, and let's keep this thing alive and happy, and let's just attack it with joy
That's it.
and the joy of life.
And will you promise me you'll come back when the third game comes out in 4 or 5 years?
Yes, as long as we can talk about this too.
Of course. Anytime,
Yeah,
bro. Anytime. Hey, can I ask
I'll
you one
just
more?
keep with this. Yeah, tell me, what would you like to know?
I was gonna say, could I is there any way Greez can talk to Dan to wrap this up? Is that possible? Can he say
God.
something to me?
Yeah. Hey, Grease, do me a favor. Come over here. I want to talk to Dan. Yeah, Dan, listen to me. You gotta fly that spaceship. Come on. You and Cal, you can do it. Fly the spaceship. Go anywhere you want to go because the galaxy is right ahead of us.